This just in. This week on Cartoon Dumpster Dive, the guys are being overtaken by killer tomatoes when they review the cartoon Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Joel, what's your opinion about the tomato?
God, the tomato.
We're Southern.
It.
We know a lot of people who will eat a mayonnaise and tomato sandwich with just a little bit of pepper and salt.
Okay, I've never been that
I can
person.
see by your face. No, not a tomato sandwich guy.
Growing up, I did not like the feel of biting into a tomato. I just didn't like the mouth feel. I'm cool with tomatoes now. I'll fuck around with them, but I won't, they are not going to be my main meal. Like a tomato sandwich, that's gross.
I like a tomato, not by itself. That's either really Southern or really Italian. Because I know a few Italian guys, and they eat tomatoes like apples.
Yeah.
Like just straight but yeah, no, a tomato is, there are some people who will throw a tomato off of their burger or a salad, but for me, tomatoes, they just kind of exist.
Look, I'm cool with them being on other things, burgers, salad, I understand a tomato is delicious and it should belong in certain dishes, but it should not be the only thing on a sandwich. That's just my opinion.
I guess the tomatoes that we're covering this week, they want to eat us.
They do.
I never watched this movie. I watched the cartoon, but I never watched Attack of the Killer Tomatoes or Return of the Killer Tomatoes, the two movies. I know they were extremely satirical, obviously.
Yep.
But no, did you watch them? Did you know anything about them?
My history, I did know about Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and it was only because of one of my cousins growing up, William. Shout out to him. I doubt he's listening to this at all, but still shout out to him. Dude, I remember he loved the movie Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. And he loved, I just remember there was one summer up at my granny's house. He's sitting there watching that movie, and I'm like, what is this? This is so weird. And then I found, that following Saturday, bam, I see the cartoon that is based on the movie. I actually watched the cartoon as a kid. I thought that was pretty cool. But never really watched much of the movie. I think of my cousin William when I think of this.
Okay. Well, let's start the episode off like we do every time. Let's review that theme song.
Let's hit it.
We speak, except when he has a security leak. Tomatoes, tomatoes!
Solid theme song.
It is.
And I think one of the longer theme songs, too, that we've covered more recently. Because if you've been listening to us chronologically, we've basically ran into at least, I want to say the last 5 episodes we've been these theme songs are way too long, and they just drag.
So it's funny because that theme song is about a minute long. All the other ones that we've been kind of, crapping on the past few weeks, they're about the same length, but this one is just so much more enjoyable than those
It's
other ones.
way catchier,
Dude,
I've been singing Attack of the Killer. I've just been going Attack of the Killer Tomatoes all week.
look, that is something from my childhood. Me and my brothers,
Yeah.
we would walk around just going, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Dude, it's so catchy. It's not trying to do anything flashy. It's just they understand this is just a joke show based off of a joke movie. It's supposed to just be fun and entertaining. That's it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna give it.
Now
I'm probably gonna give it a 7. It's a solid.
I want to give it an 8.
Ooh, there
I
we go.
love it. The kazoo part really sends it over.
It
the
made
edge
me.
for
It made me think
Big
of
fan of the kazoo.
Rayman.
Yeah, especially the more recent
Yeah.
ones. They love to use the kazoo. But yeah. Now, I don't know if we should consider this one a Reagan show because it has toys,
No, it honestly.
but I don't think this was made to sell toys. And if they were, it's definitely season 2 is when they're doing it.
Yeah, it's
Season 2 is where they start making stuff for merchandise.
okay.
Season 1 seems a lot more fun. Not to say that season 2 is bad. I want to get into that when we start talking about the cartoon. I kind of like a lot of the direction of what this show does. I appreciate it a lot, especially for only being 2 season long and like what
21 episodes,
26,
I think.
21. I knew it was in the 20s, but they do some stuff that I truly appreciate about this cartoon. But Joel, let's get into how this show got made.
So Andrew, like you mentioned, it's not truly a Reagan show. Yes, they had merchandise, but this is one of those cartoons that it was a movie that just gained a cult following that some basically producers at a studio was just like, hey, you know, this has popularity. A lot of kids are talking about it. So let's just make this into a cartoon. So I kind of actually want to talk about the movie a little bit because the cartoon there's not much there. Andrew, you said you never saw the movie. The very first movie came out in 1978.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be a spoof movie of like these, you know, monster movies, kind of like Alfred Hitchcock, The Bird, like just this, your everyday thing has now just become a monster and it's about to wipe out civilization. That is what this movie is spoofing.
Like Attack of the Killer Blob or
exactly
in that kind of vein.
Yeah. It was actually originally just like rated PG. So kids, everybody could watch this. The best thing about this, Andrew, because this was a B movie, had a budget of $100,000. That's it. And they actually they made a box office profit of $567,000.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
I mean, comparing the numbers, that's not bad. That's really funny. I mean, I remember watching the preview on YouTube, and you can definitely tell this movie didn't have money behind it.
Yeah,
because they don't make them monster tomatoes in the first movie. They're, if I remember correctly, they're just tomatoes.
Yeah, basically.
They don't have like faces or anything. They're just a regular fruit.
Yeah, that's it. It was considered to be a success at the box office to the point where it led to multiple sequels of this movie. And even, dude, it led to comic books, it led to video games, it led to cartoons. It's crazy how a B movie of this level just struck a chord with enough people to get it to be, here it is, 40, 50 years later, me and you are talking about it now.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like its cult following definitely has a group, like tomato heads or whatever you want to call them.
I hope that's what they're called. I hope they'll call tomato heads. But that's really not much to talk about the movie besides that. The one cool thing I saw about the movie, the original film, apparently there was a helicopter crash scene in the movie, and that was a legitimate helicopter crash that they filmed.
Wow.
Apparently there was a scene in the movie where this helicopter was supposed to kind of come land in this like field. But what happened when the helicopter went to go land, the back end, the like tail of the helicopter actually hit the ground, then started spinning out and crashed.
Damn.
Apparently the pilot was able to get out before like the helicopter actually like, I guess, blew up. But
damn, that's intense.
But they still had the camera recording and they just kept it in.
Hell, if you only got $100,000, you know, you got to take what you can get, I guess.
Probably one of the best scenes in the movie, I'm guessing.
Yeah, probably. An actual helicopter crash? Yeah, hell yeah.
But that's it for that movie. Like you mentioned earlier, Andrew, the show ran for 2 seasons, 21 episodes. Original air date, September 8th, 1990, and ran until the following year, and last episode aired on November 23rd, 1991. Now this...
And has a pretty big claim to fame, right?
Which one? It
is one of the first Saturday morning cartoons on the Fox Children's Network.
Yes.
So that's nothing to shy at.
It's not. They also, I read something, they say the second season, I don't get this, but someone said that it was one of the first CGI cartoons.
So not so much CGI, just animated with computers.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense then.
Yeah. I could see how that's kind of confused. The way articles talk about it, they kind of zhuzh it up a bit, but it does. I guess it would be like what CGI is computer generated images. It's more like computer animated.
Gotcha. They're more just using legitimate.
It's
computers.
it was like a proto Flash.
Yeah,
I would say.
Gotcha. Not hand drawing, but just actually animation on the computer, but still make it look like.
Exactly.
Cartoons.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But that's it, Andrew. Not too much to this one. You know, a B movie led to a B cartoon, so there's not going to be too much history there.
This episode is brought to you by Flint's Mints. Dry mouth can happen for many reasons. Smoking, anxiety, or if you're like me, consuming a massive amount of caffeine. That's where Flint's mouth-watering mints come in. Coming in a variety of flavors and strengths of their mouth-watering agent, the Spillanthus plant, Flint's Mints will be a welcome relief to your dry mouth needs. I can say as a podcaster, dry mouth can cause me, along with my listeners, less than ideal sounds, so I use them before every recording. Customers can get a discount of 15% on any 3-pack or variety pack using the code word CARTOON. And again, that code word is cartoon.
But what about some of the voice actors, Andrew?
So I'm pretty talented voice acting cast. Some that we've heard of, some that you haven't. So the voice cast for Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is John Astin as Dr. Putrid T. Gangrene.
Okay.
Christian Gzik is Chad Flinletter and Tomato Chad. Kath Sochi is Tara Bonde, Mary Jo Nagamashi. And we have Neil Ross as Whitley White, Captain Louis Lebisk, Egbert Splott. Tom Bray is Wilbur Flintletter. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with the name Flintletter.
Did you say Wilbur? Like Mr. Ed?
No, like, I guess I did.
Hello, Wilbur.
We have Cam Clark as Igor Smith, Tamacho, and Tamacho.
Tomacho.
S. Scott Bullock as FT, Sam Smith, and the Censor Lady, Count Dracula. Maurice LaMarche is Zoltan, Tomato Guy. Ketchuck, Bone, Captain Cork. Susan Silo is Fang and Aunt Lillian. Chuck McCann is Beefsteak. And finally, Rob Paulson is Mamato and Tomato Worm.
Just from the name of the characters, you can tell this show is just going to be over the top ridiculousness.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hey, I recognize Paulson's name.
Yeah, and Maurice LaMarche, you should remember him from everything. So for their other works, we have John Aston is Gomez Adams and the Addams Family, 1964.
Da-da-da-dum.
Christian Gazik is Jake Bitterman in Full House.
Okay.
Kath Sochi is Hubert Farnsworth in Futurama. I think I said that last time she was on our show. But that's fine.
We should try to invite her on the show.
Yeah.
Just to ask her, how do you pronounce your name correctly?
Yeah, that would be nice. Neil Ross is Codex narrator in Mass Effect. Tom Bray is Hodges in Deep Star 6. Cam Clark is Liquid Snake in Metal Gear Solid.
Snake.
S. Scott Bullock is Eddie the Cow in Barnyard. Maurice LaMarche is the Brain in Pinky the Brain.
Very nice.
I'm just going to do a softball that one since Joel has somehow forgotten.
Yes.
Susan Silo is Wuya in Shaolin Showdown.
Ooh,
that's one we need to cover someday.
That's a good show.
Chuck McCann is Ducksworth in DuckTales. And finally, Rob Paulson is Yakko Warner in Animaniacs. So let me talk about the things I like about this show before I get into the things that I don't. So one thing I didn't like about this show is how hard it is to actually find.
Yeah, I think
it's pretty tough.
I think I was able to find like 3 episodes on YouTube that are nowhere near one another. It's like an episode in season 1, episode in season 2. Yeah.
So the things that I like about it is one, Putrid Gangrene, Dr. Putrid T. Gangrene. He sounds like somebody doing a Burt Reynolds impression.
Love it.
So it to me, it sounds like Burt Reynolds as a mad scientist, which is great. The other thing that I like is Igor, his assistant, is actually really handsome, and he's shamed for it. And he sounds like a surfer, but he's like, you're nothing like the Igors of. He's like, I'm sorry I don't have a hunchback or a wonky eye, master.
I'm sorry I've got these washboard abs and this chiseled chest.
That's he's like that one Hotel Transylvania where they turn human and Frankenstein is like super hot.
Oh, that's hilarious.
He's like that one, but with blonde hair. Like Igor has blonde hair.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. This takes place 5 years after the movies.
Yep.
So tomatoes are banned. And they're like home base, like Chad Flintletter and his uncle, they run a tomatoless pizza shop. And there's always this running joke and a reoccurring character who's like, I don't know how better to describe him than he sounds like Woody Allen.
Okay.
And he looks like how you would offensively draw a Jewish person.
Oh.
That's 100% the best way to describe this character. But he's just called Tomato Guy, and all he does is he goes, "Do you have any tomatoes?" And everybody freaks out because they all have PTSD from when they were attacked by tomatoes.
Does he look like Larry David, basically?
Yeah, Larry David with brown hair. I think he's even bald like Larry David. But yeah, it's just like when he first showed up, like I was like, "Oh, that's a little much." So the thing that I like the most about this show is season 1 is about like them fighting the tomatoes on their own, like a battle. But season 2, the villains win episode 1 and conquer the earth.
Oh, what?
And you have the 6 tomato generals, and they even throw out Dr. Gangrene. So now the former villain in season 1 has to team up with all the other heroes. And like they have to fight against all these evil tomato generals.
Interesting.
Two other characters that I really liked is Tara Bomde is a tomato that was turned into a girl.
Okay.
And if she gets in contact with salt, she turns back into a tomato. And if she can't, in season 1 she can't speak, but in season 2 they let her talk as a tomato. But if you give her pepper, she can change back. The other character I really like is FT, which stands for Fuzzy Tomato. Yeah. And they just pass him off as a dog. And he's just like, he sounds like, what's that one weird character on the Jetsons that they shoehorned at the last minute? He had the fuzzy spring leg guy.
The alien, basically. I can't remember his name, but it's like
Gizmo? Is it Gizmo?
It sounds like Gizmo, basically.
I'm almost positive it's Gizmo.
So
that's probably, I know we just did their other works, but I bet you he was also Gizmo.
No.
They sound way too...
Howie Mandel was Gizmo, right?
No, that's right. It's not Gizmo then. It's
something else. Hang on. We've got the interwebs.
You know what? Pause the episode. We're going to figure this out right now.
We have the interwebs. All right, so let's see.
It's Orbity.
Meet George Jetson.
Yeah. Should we cover the Jetsons? Is that fair?
Dude, we should. Oh shit. Maybe for our 150th we cover, unless we want to do that one thing, we just do an episode dedicated to Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, and then we could save that other big project for our 200th.
Or we just do a month dedicated to that. We can do Johnny Quest and all those cool stuff.
Yeah, that would be great. So, season 1 is more episodic. They have a problem of the day.
Gotcha.
And then they solve that problem. So, season 2, it gets panned a lot. So one thing they complain about with season 2, and I get it. It's still in early development, but using computers to animate is still very rough, even if you're doing 2D animation. One of the comments when I was watching season 2 on YouTube was, "This looks like the Zelda CDI game."
Oh,
it's not great. It's not the best in the world.
Okay.
And so that one treats the Zoltan and the Gang of Five Tomatoes as more of a threat, and they try to go a little bit more serious with it. They tried to make it more than it was.
More than just a weekly episodic show.
Just like more. I mean, they could have still done it like the Tomatoes took over, but they lose a goofiness about them that it's kind of lost. It would so if this were live action and they had done this plot and they had played it straight, the comedy would have translated better.
You think?
Than doing it in an animation, because animation you're allowed to be more goofy, and so you lose a little bit about that when you crank the dial of the serious tone and like and you turned all these like comedic relief characters from season 1 and you've made them like serious threats. It's just like the audience didn't really go for it.
I gotcha. I actually read that the differences between season 1 and season 2, because apparently it's a pretty big change when you're going.
It's two different production companies.
I actually heard that was the reason why the show got canceled. It's because people did not like the change that they did in season 2.
If they had kept it the same, but just like changed the environment, I think it would have. I don't know if you would have gotten more. I don't think you would have gotten too many more. You might have gotten one more season.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because this was the 90s. This is the era of content,
dude. I don't
like you make your product and then you immediately move to the next product, so you can. Kids never get used to something.
They never have.
So they keep on. You keep on getting them to buy different shit.
Yep.
We didn't really have like, outside of like G.I. Joe, Barbie, and Transformers, we didn't have like these like big franchises yet, or like your Care Bears. We did, but like, I don't think it wasn't till Pokemon came to the West did we really like stop making new shit. Like, it was just like franchise. Everybody needs to make a franchise, and if you want to be new, good luck to you, but we're not going to give you any help. I feel like in this era, we're like, everybody's trying to be a thing, so we're just getting everything.
Yeah. No, I think I even read that season 2 only lasted 8 episodes.
Yeah, 8 episodes. It was not. Nobody watched it.
It's got to be.
Barely anybody watched season 1.
It's going to be pretty bad for them to just be like, we're cutting it, just done. No more in the middle of a season. Yeah, Andrew, would you be surprised if I told you that in the early 2000s, they was trying to do a remake, not of the cartoon, but of the movie?
But of the movie?
Yes.
I could definitely see that.
Yep.
Every once in a while, you'll have this like shot in the dark reboot that they have with like a franchise that nobody remembers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, let's hear about it.
So just in 2008, it was announced that a remake was happening. Kent Nichols and Douglas Shireen, the creators of a series called Ask a Ninja, which
Oh, you don't remember Ask a Ninja, that YouTuber?
I do not.
Yeah. Oh, God. There were hundreds of those, man. You asked him ninja questions, and he was just like, I just remember that he said that somebody asked him about Santa Claus, and he said Santa Claus is a ninja. And the reason that nobody sees him when he delivers presents is because he kills you immediately if you find out. and that he's actually not wearing he's not wearing a red suit. He's just covered in blood.
Of people that see him, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that is a scene. Say he goes, and under no circumstances should you go downstairs if you
That's
hear him.
hilarious.
He is one of the most deadliest ninjas of all time.
So the guys who created that, they was working on the project, and this was actually supposed to be Kent Nicholas, his like debut as a director. They had people co-producing it, but then in 2011, John DeBellio said that the Ask Ninja creators were no longer involved, and that was the end of it. It just fizzled out from there.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of short-lived, just a few years trying to get things going, but it never did, which I'm kind of sad.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised this isn't on Disney Plus, like buried deep down, just because in 2001, when Disney bought Marvel Productions, they acquired Fox Kids Worldwide as well. So all the they could. I guess it's too much effort to put it on there because nobody will watch it.
Exactly. Why keep it in the space? You know, why take up space with something that no one's ever going to watch? I would.
Well, we would have for
have.
this show.
But I would love a new movie because think about it. When was the last time you saw a spoof movie?
That's
Dude,
true.
spoof movies are hilarious.
Well, we had that period where like the Wayans brothers just decided to run them into the ground.
Yes.
They made Scary Movie 1 and 2, which ruled.
Oh, so good.
And then
they had
the less funny members of the Wayans family decided to try it.
and make
And like they like we got like Meet the Spartans and Superhero Movie.
date movie.
Wait, no.
I think
No, I'm thinking an epic movie. Superhero Movie's the one with Drake
Yep.
Bell, and that one has Leslie Nielsen, and that movie rules.
that movie is pretty funny. I remember what was it? Date movie? I
Yeah.
just remember the one scene because it's Allison Hannigan, the lady who played Willow and Buffy, and
Right.
she got on a motorcycle to go meet her love, and like you see her on the motorcycle, and she's like, "I'll get there," and she puts on the helmet, and then they zoom out, and they've got this 6'5", 280-pound, just buff black guy in this pink dress, like clearly not the same person driving the
Yeah.
motorcycle. And I thought that was the funniest thing.
It's just, yeah. I mean, a good spoof movie would be
Yeah.
nice. Especially because there's too many damn superhero
Well,
movies.
especially like, think about the last time you saw a spoof movie that was at least like low rating, like PG or PG-13. Like,
yeah, that's
that
true
takes
too.
some talent to make a funny spoof movie without being vulgar or like grotesque or
especially,
something like that.
to toe that line
Yeah.
for sure. Well, Joel, I believe it's time for your new reoccurring segment. Reviews that are killer and reviews that'll kill you.
All right, Andrew. So we don't have any ones today. The lowest I could find was a 4 out of 10. It's pretty lengthy, so I'm not going to read that, but that's the lowest.
Okay.
And honestly, the 10 out, oh God, this 10 out of 10. Someone really
People who
loves it.
love things and hate things seem to have the same amount of passion.
So Andrew, I'm just going to read you one that is not rated. It came out. Okay. This might be the oldest review we've had on Cartoon Dumpster Dive.
Ooh, there's a first for you.
Dude, it's 1999.
They had IMDb back then?
1999. Do you think, before I read this, because this review comes from Main Man 2, do you think he was scared that when Y2K happened, that his review for Attack of the Killer Tomatoes would be wiped off the planet?
I don't know. I maybe. I just kind of assumed he was a Lobo fan. I've been focusing on that.
Main
because that's
Man.
what Lobo calls himself, the main man. So
All right, so this his review is just titled "Cool." One of the great 80s movies of yesteryear, well, TV series. It was a very good TV series, but could never stand up against the much better sequel to the original film, which was kind of lame. Overall, a series worth watching if you can manage to find any episodes.
you can buy the DVD on Amazon.
How much?
$19.99, man. Main
Main Man.
Main Man 2.
Do
you think he wanted to call himself Main Man 2000, but he was afraid that Y2K would kill him?
Maybe.
If his username was that?
Maybe. All I know is this guy's gotta be in his, 60s now.
You think so?
Well, let's think about it.
I bet you he was...
He saw the original in 78. Then he saw the sequel in 80s.
That's true.
He had enough money to afford a computer in 1999 and the internet. This dude's probably 60s, in his 60s now.
He's probably dead.
He's probably...
Anywho.
RIP Main Man 2.
Yeah. Gone but not forgotten. Nope. You got any closing thoughts on Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, cartoon series?
Honestly, this series, even the movies, it's just silly. It's just kind of enjoyable. Just watch it, but don't go in expecting anything. Just go in thinking that you're just going to have a fun time. That's it.
I would suggest just watching season 1.
Well, yeah.
It's got the most episodes and it's animated better. That's my really only closing thought. Season 1 is more fun, better animated, and just all around the stronger of the two. And then season 2 try some stuff, and I have to give it credit for that. But the animation really takes away from it. And if they had just kept it,
yeah,
goofy and episodic, but also the tomatoes had conquered Earth, it'd have been way better.
Tell you what, watch season 1 of the show, then go watch the sequel movie, Return of the Killer Tomatoes, because apparently that's the best movie out of all of them.
Okay. Yeah. I might try to find this movie.
You know what? We should bring in some friends to watch a flick with.
Oh my God. What a... We may very well. How's that for foreshadowing? Will it be a Patreon exclusive episode?
Knows?
Only time will tell. But if you want to join that Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/cartoondd. There we have a $5 tier that gets you bonus episodes with extra audio, access to our Discord, and we will send you stickers and a pin in the mail. We have a Twitter handle CartoonDD. We have a website, cartoondumpsterdive.com, the best place for you to send a request for a cartoon, anime, someone for us to interview, 2 cartoons to go head-to-head in our junkyard brawl. We have an Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Threads, all Cartoon Dumpster Dive. And if you'd like to send us a good old-fashioned email, you can send that to cartoondumpsterdive@gmail.com. And as always, we appreciate a 5-star review on the podcasting platform of your choice, so we won't get attacked by the killer 1-star reviews. Have a great rest of your week.
See ya. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
This has been a Lug Hole podcast.